Surf's up, guys. It's Mauisnake here. I already recorded this video once. I'm recording it again. Here we go. Fast, fast, fast. Pick'ems. Get them in. They are hot. 19 hours, 52 minutes remaining to make your picks. Are you watching this in 2x speed, or am I just talking really fast? First matchup, here we go. NIP versus Faze Clan. Let's go with Faze Clan. I think this one's pretty simple. Faze feel like it is their destiny to win this major. So they are going to win this one. It's their destiny. If you really want some insight on this one, NIP are playing actually fantastic Counter-Strike right now. It does feel like they are actually still somehow an elite team, despite the fact that they aren't even using a guy that's a primary opper in Esatag. Good job to Esatag for actually proving me wrong that he actually ended up being better than a couple oppers there. I think it's safe to say he did better than GXX and a couple people that performed poorly if you look statistically at things. And actually, he's fitting the system pretty well in terms of support he's providing with the team. Seems like he's always covering an angle when there is an aggressive play being made somewhere on the map. It's just that he's not the one that's taking the initiative in rounds. He's letting his riflers, as he should trust them, to do more than him. Will that hold them back in a matchup like this versus Faze, where you need to be killing riflers with a more forward op presence? Yes. Is he going to be changing his play style from one day to the next? Probably not. So we're going to pick Faze there. Do think there is actually a slight chance for an upset, but that's not the upset that's going to happen. The upset that is going to happen in the quarterfinals is Spirit over Furia, and it hurts me to say this because I like Furia a lot, but I don't think that's the style that Furia are playing is actually disruptive enough to actually take Spirit out of their comfort zone. Spirit even play sometimes a more aggressive style with how they unleash Patsy into rounds, and I think that might actually upset Furia. I thought a couple times that Spirit was going to not make it, they weren't going to do well. Then I talked to Dexter on the desk. I asked him how many hours he's had in the past 2 weeks, because Dexter has told me before he's a dude that has like 140 plus hours every 2 weeks. He told me he has 180 right now, and that everybody on the team has above 100 hours in the past 2 weeks. You can't count teams out that put that much time into the game. It is how Gambit won the PGL major in 2017, and that is how Spirit are going to find an upset here over Furia. ENCE versus Copenhagen Flames. This maybe on name value alone you wouldn't think is that crazy if you've only been casually watching CS, but ENCE are a much better team than Copenhagen Flames. The strats that Snappy calls, everybody understands them. He has a variety of them, and nobody is confused. And even in mid rounds on certain maps, they can put things together. And I think that the only thing working in the favor of Copenhagen Flames here is that their map pools can find some middle grounds here and there. But then again, you do have maps like, actually, there's not going to be Inferno in this because ENCE banned that. ENCE could go for a Dust 2, but I don't see ENCE actually picking Dust 2 to try to punish Copenhagen Flames in this kind of matchup. And then I think Copenhagen Flames can just ban Dust 2 as a matter of fact, because ENCE will ban Inferno. And then that's like a 5 map pool BO3 where Copenhagen Flames get rid of their 2 worst maps out the gate. So that is the one thing that's working for Copenhagen Flames here. Glad to see that they made it to the playoffs finally, but ENCE are just a better team in my eyes. This is also a very tough quarterfinals matchup in terms of really, you wouldn't really want to put money on this one. I'll just tell you that. You wouldn't really want to say that Heroic are going to be beating them, or Navi are going to be beating Heroic, even though I am putting Navi forward. Heroic has already beaten Navi in a BO3 this year on LAN, in studio. But the thing is that it's in studio. Navi are playing some fantastic Counter-Strike right now. I think that they are going to be one of the most obvious contenders to Faze's crown at this major. Semifinals matchup number 1, Faze versus Spirit. Simple. Just Faze is just incredible right now. They are playing some very good CS on top of the fact that their individuals are good. I would be a little bit shocked to even see Spirit here, so this is kind of also covering my bases that if Furia make it, Faze, I mean, you just have to get some quarterfinal or some semifinal predictions right. Faze would probably beat Furia or Spirit in this matchup. It'd be kind of crazy to think that Spirit are going to just ruin my bracket by putting them all the way through like that, so I'm not going to do that. I do think that this might be a little bit harder for Faze than we might expect, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 16-10, 16-9 scoreline, personally. Next matchup, ENCE versus Navi. This is one where Navi are such a good team at preparing that a team like ENCE will be figured out a little bit more in terms of what strategies they're running, and I think that this is where ENCE's playbook comes back to bite them. Congrats to Snappy for making it to the playoffs, making it this far, top 4 at a major. This will probably be one of the biggest achievements of his career, and he's been on my podcast, so I don't even want to say that too lightly, but I'd be shocked if he's able to do much more just kind of based off of his style alone and the limitations of calling more set pieces out. It's not like his entirely out of spawn set piece, like they just follow the whole strat, but I just think that that sort of style gets anti-stratted a little bit more carefully when it comes to heavy prep situations like a playoffs in a major, where you know that Blade and Boomich and Simple are going to be going over absolutely everything to know the ins and outs of what every strategy is for Ents and how to counter them. So unless Ents come out with some absolute massive curveballs where they throw their own game plan out the window, I think that this is a fair Navi pick. And this is where we get to the grand finals, Navi versus Faze. I think this is one of the sickest major finals in history in terms of the billing here. You'd have to go back quite a few years. I think like Fnatic NIP was one of that. I was just like, wow, that's delivering in terms of how what the level those teams were at that time. But like, in all honesty, and like in terms of enjoyment, we've obviously enjoyed the E-League Boston Major Finals the most of any grand finals. But I mean, I like the PGL Krakow grand finals personally, but for very many biased reasons. But either way, this is just one of the sickest matchups in history. You have a reigning champion in Navi. You have Faze who put the roster together that Kerrigan finally wanted, that Faze wanted. They are powered up. They have won 2 events in a row, Pro League and Katowice, and now it's time for Kerrigan to potentially win his first major trophy. But I think that Navi are simply playing too well right now. And when you look at a couple things in the server, in terms of personnel, which is kind of where I think this comes down to, I think Navi have the 2 best players right now in the tournament. They have Bit, who has actually been the best player statistically speaking, and when you even watch him via the eye test, he is the best player right now. He is absolutely demolishing people on aggressive plays, because when you look at FaZe and who just does well for them, they have to be passive. They have to let the fight come to them. But if you have a player as good as Bit who can open things up aggressively, that's a win condition. That's always going to be a win condition. If you don't even have to play necessarily flawless CS and he's just going to be deleting everybody that he sees, why do you don't need too much more than that. And that's the level he's at right now. He's actually playing that well individually. So the thing is, I'm not even talking about Simple yet, and who is the best player in the server of all 10 right there, and he's probably the second best player in this game at this moment with the form that Bit is in. And then you finally to FaZe, and you think about Rops, you think about Brokey, Twist, how well they've been playing in this tournament. But the thing is, like, they just don't feel like they're on that level that Simple and Bit are on. I think that the team CS that FaZe is playing looks better than Navi's right now. They're trading incredibly well. They're flashing for each other. They're making sure that the space that they take is done so in a calculated nature. But then you have players that are a little bit more inconsistent. Kerrigan and Rain don't always show up. Rain is incredible at Ancient. He's like one of the best cave players, but I don't even know if Ancient is coming into this series. I don't know if they're going to pick that map. I don't know I feel like this is going to be some kind of like Nuke, Inferno, Mirage sort of veto. And then where does Rain go? Does he just play A like he played it in 2018? Does he play Rain? Does he play that same bomb site? And does he let Bit just entry him when he runs out ramp, runs up connector, whatever it is? The only concern I have for Navi is Electronics' form has not been great this year or even in recent history. And I don't know if he's shown up yet into this year. And I think that this is where the international conflict, the war behind this, like not even behind the scenes, I mean, it's one of the biggest issues in geopolitics right now, or in politics and in freaking world news right now. It's where maybe things are getting to him, or maybe he just hasn't shown up for other reasons. But either way, I'm still putting Navi through. I think Navi's got this. I think this is I can't even click update picks because I already did this whole thing, but there it is. Those are my picks. I'll give you guys the satisfaction. I'll make it like this so you guys can here. Boom. Navi locked it in. There we go. Now that's the moment, and that's going to be it, guys. That's my take on this. Sorry if you followed my Legends picks, because we gold boys, even though this thumbnail and everything says diamond. Peace out, guys. As always, being toxic is a choice. Even the way you talk to players and talent, being toxic is a choice. Remember that. Peace.